Well, we're up here in Sylmar now in the Lindblad campaign, showing our contributions in running for state assembly over the past election cycles, helping form neighborhood councils, participating and leading the Panorama City Revitalization Study, and actually now we're at the north end of the proposed light rail in Sylmar, a distance away from the San Fernando Sylmar Amtrak Metrolink and light rail station. But we come up here because of my success in building on the successful sediment management mitigation that we were able to secure with DWP who wanted to have 170,000 truck trips over an 18-month period to dredge out the Tahunga spreading ground to allow greater groundwater capacity from running downstream and causing more treatment plant infrastructure capitalization costs. So we're up here by the foothills in the Verdugo Mountains to show that, not to point fingers, but to show that the existing tracks were cut into the hills, and that this is what the benching behind in the backyards of all these houses on this side are not the rock that you see in the mountain behind that, but more of an alluvial fill that has been stabilized. But in a downpour, in an atmospheric river, they would potentially could become very dangerous in a mud flow, sweeping down the street. So analogous to this is what the DWP wants to do in the DPW, the Department of Public Works for the county, in dredging out the areas behind the Pacoima Dam and over here the Big Tahunga Dam back in the Angeles Crest watershed. So once all that material is dredged out, what the agencies were originally proposing is to put all that material behind the houses, literally behind the urban settlements here, and maybe not these particular houses, but it's dangerous enough the way it is right now in other areas to add more benching of sediment layers in an urbanized area. So my suggestion, again, as neighborhood council, coordinating with different neighborhood council members, as a member of neighborhood council myself, we suggested to the Department of Public Works and the DWP, the Los Angeles City Department of Water and Power, that they take all the dredging from the dam in the reservoirs and put it behind the dam, lock it in with geocells above the reservoirs, away from the urbanized area. That's where it became loosened and released into the dam. It was caught by the dam and not allowed to go into the urbanized areas that you see here. It makes more sense, and actually the project, one of the senior project managers is taking all of these new ideas that are new to the department in mind in their formulation of a mitigation plan. Olive View Hospital is a little over here too. So it presents all these additional 170,000 truck trips that the county and the DWP were proposing over a 20-year period to make up for about 40 years of less than yearly regular dredging of the Pacoima Dam Reservoir and the Big Tahunga Dam Reservoir. To make up for lost time, they would be putting the community at risk, not only for the carcinogens in the soot, but the safety and the noise and the disturbance of 170,000 truck trips. Not over a 2-year period like in Arleta for the Arleta spreading ground dredge, but for a 20-year period. This is unacceptable to the community, and that's why we and the advocates of being neighborhood council members, taking advantage of CEQA and the public comment that CEQA enables for public agencies to pursue mitigation, litigation to alleviate some of the proposals is really applied here up in Sylmar. And we consider this to be another success because we're causing the DWP and the DPW to reassess their earlier proposals. And we know that it's going to come out with something very similar to what they accepted in the Tonga Spreading Ground. Also, this is the north, as I mentioned, the north terminus of the light rail, and we really do need to have the light rail to, it's very pristine up here. This is the furthest reach of the 18th State Senate District, so there's no cars. But as you know from my other little video clips, that there's tremendous congestion on Van Nuys Boulevard, so we need to move ahead with the light rail. We need to move ahead with the sediment management. Water is always concerned, so we need to capture every drop. These are the things with the food from locally grown. We looked at Studio City Farmers Market. These are all securities, the 5 securities: food, water, energy. Every house here should have solar collectors on it instead of having a big centralized solar area that blights the community and cuts off the wildlife corridors. That's why people moved up here in the first place, to enjoy unfettered, undisturbed environment. So these are the 5 securities that we're concerned about that will help us survive as a species, to decentralize, to relocalize our food, our water, our energy, our material production, and our finance. And community banks are real important. So they invest in the communities, they invest in the schools and the parks in the neighborhoods. They know the hazards that we're pointing out from the larger water flow and debris flow from the fires that were here 5 years ago, threatening again. It has grown back some, but we're always under a 500-year drought fire threat, and less water to come from 700 miles away. So that's all I have for you now, and thanks very much for viewing.